growing up in a patriarchal society where women were sort of second class citizens.
Hello, everyone. Hello, my beautiful world. El Ballard is here today on the Women of the World Network Choreograph Success podcast with my guest, Alpana. Welcome, Alpana Aras. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Elle.
So, with an MS in Instructional Design and a BFA in Applied Art, Alpana began her career in advertising in India before becoming an early adopter of the internet, working with brands like Penguin Publishing and Rough Guides. She went on to build a 2-decade body of work spanning commercial photography, brand strategy, and coaching, with credits that include the New York Times and collaborations with Apple and Instagram. Today, Alpana works with women entrepreneurs to close the gap between their expertise and how they are seen through her Art of You program, which I know we've been talking about, and strategic photography work. She helps founders clarify their message and build a brand that's distinctly their own. It's work she sees as urgent in an age where AI flatters everyone's voice, being recognizably yourself as a real competitive edge. A multi-passionate entrepreneur, Alpana co-authored Women, Money, and the Energy of Life book that we published in our community, Women of the World Network. It's an Amazon bestseller, international Amazon bestseller, actually, and created Bombay Bites, digital storytelling cookbook, rooted in her Bombay upbringing. She also designs a line of mugs exploring empowerment and her East-West identity. She's based in the Bay Area. Welcome, Alpana.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my
Welcome.
goodness, that was quite a mouthful, right?
Oh, such a good and vast experience, and multicultural, cross countries, right, cross borders. And so, with that, of course, my question first is, what first called you into the work you do today, and how has your lived experience shaped the way you lead, create today?
Oh my goodness, yeah. When I sort of go down memory lane, I think about little Alpana or young Alpana, teenage Alpana, who used to walk down the streets of Bombay with my camera. And that told me to see people and tell stories. So that was one of the aspects. And the other aspects was growing up in a patriarchal society where women were sort of second class citizens in a way. And those were like the two things that really fed into my lived experience, and they lit a fire inside me. And the fire brought me to America to just sort of, I had this American dream. So I had a dream to be somebody, to have my own identity, and to be independent. So that's sort of what brought me here. And then over the years, I carved my identity as a photographer and a brand strategist. So that was in the last few years. I've been serving clients who are mainly midlife women who struggle with visibility. And that is sort of the connection to the girl that I was, who struggled with being seen, having a voice, and being able to express my identity. And that was the direction that I moved into. And that's what I've been doing, helping women connect with parts of themselves that they might edit out. So that's through photography or through brand strategy. And how I lead them is to help them step into the discomfort, which helps them create that creative transformation. And this is in spaces where there is a sense of safety. So you can actually let down your guard. You can be vulnerable and be who you truly are.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and I love how you combine that. I think that's so perfect because I've done, you have done my photos, and of course, I think it's you have a great eye to see things, and I love that you're combining that, and we'll talk about it in a little bit here. But yeah, it's beautiful a journey in this journey of building your business in a new country as a multicultural woman, can you take us through this journey and maybe talk about the moments that shaped this journey for you? Maybe there is one lesson or something in this journey that contributed to who you are today even further.
Yeah, I love that question. I feel that when you are from a different culture, you bring so much of that culture
Yeah.
into where you end up being, right? So for me, it was coming from Bombay, from a culture that was vastly different to America, and trying to fit in, trying to belong in a culture where I struggled with my identity. And a lot of that was, am I Indian or am I American? So that was like the conflict, inner conflict that I went through for the longest period of time. And then finally, after stepping into business mentorship programs, leadership programs, that's what really unlocked so much inside me. And I remember one of the scariest things that I did was I paid for this high ticket. It was like a 12K business program. And the outcome of that program was to create a online summit, and the online summit involved me stepping in front of the camera. And that was really, really scary for me. So it brought up like all these things like imposter syndrome. um, am I good enough? Because my whole identity was really of the person that was commanding people from behind the camera. And I worked with
Right.
celebrities, I worked with pretty powerful people, and I directed them. And although I was somewhat uncomfortable, I was still able to direct them. But when somebody
You
told
put
me,
others in the spotlight. You
yes,
put others in
amazingly
that
in the
spot.
spotlight. It was so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And I
Yeah.
interviewed 21 experts and I felt like such an imposter. But there was so much growth through that journey. And the
Yeah.
biggest realization I also had was how women felt when they stepped in front of my camera. Because these were ambitious women, women that were really good at what they did. But it's a different experience when you're in front of somebody's camera. It feels like a bit of a performance. It feels like you have to really step into a different space. And that change, that was like a huge shift for me in the way I started working with midlife women. So I would hold space in a different way. And the most important piece was how important it was to align what was on the inside with the outside.
Beautiful. How to align inside with the outside. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that experience. I can totally relate to that as well. And this whole search for identity is definitely real. We talk about it when we just move cities, when we just move states within the country. In fact, I was just speaking with someone who moved states within the US, and she felt that. But talk about moving countries, right? Different cultures, completely different language. I mean, yeah. So
Even
I,
one more thing I was going to say
yeah.
is from the difference between living in a big city to a smaller city. Because when I first moved to the
Mm,
US, I lived in a big city, and my whole identity was that of a city girl.
which
And then I
San
moved to,
Francisco.
well, I moved to from Bombay to a smaller town in
Oh,
Pennsylvania
oh, so you're the big
to go to
city being
school.
Bombay.
So that was like a huge
Yes.
culture shift, right? Like you go to a
Yeah.
town of like, there was like one bar in town, that was it. So
Yeah.
it was, it was
Yes.
like you had to. There wasn't. I don't even think there was public transit in the way it is in. Yeah,
Wow.
it
Very
was a
rural.
campus life.
Just
It was a
really
really
campus.
really small town.
All these dimensions of just, right? They add up to, wow. Yeah, yeah, so interesting. We are on Women of the World Network, and also network podcast, Choreograph Success. And you are, of course, one of our great and celebrate international bestseller authors on Amazon. In our book, you've shared your beautiful story in our book, in one of our books. As I watch a lot of multinational women in our community, outside of our community, build their lives and businesses, that's why the reason Choreograph Success, really choreographing every step in their journey, step in their business and life. What does this phrase choreograph success means to you?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. But before I answer that, I'm going to say it was such an amazing experience being a part of the Amazon bestseller that we did together. My
It was a lot
first
of fun.
book, and the collective experience of doing that book together with the women of the world was really special.
Such a
Yeah, so
great.
for me, let's talk about success. When I was younger, I was chasing different goals. And I talked about it a little bit before, where I was a city girl. So my whole
Yeah,
idea of being successful was living in New York, living in a big city, and leading a fast life. That's what I really wanted. That was my dream when I first came here. And then, of course, I ended up in that small town in Pennsylvania. And then along the way, I moved to the Midwest and then finally ended up in California. So I feel like I got a lot of that out of my system. And as I have aged now, I just yearn for simplicity. So just having a simpler life. I do still enjoy parts of going to the city and all those things, but on the whole, the way I lead my life, I just want it to be simpler. And there are three pillars that are really important for me. One is work. Through work, one of the programs that I've recently launched, it's called Art of You. So that's something I'm really, really passionate about. The second is health, because without health, they say health is wealth, right? So
yeah.
unless you are healthy, how do you, have that rich
Do
life
anything.
as you age?
Yes.
So that's also really important for me. And then the third is life, where having beautiful connections, having the right people in your circle, having people that fill your cup and not deplete your cup. So, those, if
Right.
I can get those together, that's what success is for me.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Let's go a little bit, talk about your program. And first of all, I love the name, and I know it's an acronym, Art of You. I love that because we are all so amazing and beautiful and unique, each one of us, and just magical. And when we fully step into that and recognize that, right? And again, I think it's so nicely connected to the work you do, because you work with women, you put them in the spotlight, and I know I personally love being, taking pictures and just being in the fun of it. It's nice, it's fun. And so having this connected to your project, what you're doing from the other end of it, I'd like for you to share with us what is that and what's in the program. Art of You, but I love the name, beautiful name.
Thank you. So, Art of You is really special to me. It's been a program that I started in another form a few years ago, and I came back to it. I really wanted it to be a space where I could bring women together and explore identities, because we've talked about identities. And the premise of the program is essentially the permission to be you. So, the permission to be an unedited form of you.
Yeah.
Because working with different women, I've seen how they edit themselves. They are one person in their personal life and another person in their professional life. So, how do we bring all these beautiful parts of you together and share them out in the world with your audience? Because most of the women I work with are either professionals or small business owners, and they are attracting clients, and they're attracting clients through their identity based stories. And those are the ones that really draw your people to you, because you see yourself in somebody else's story. So the art framework, essentially, it has three parts to it. The first part is called Awaken. So it's about doing an identity based deep dive. So you're excavating your values, who you are, and then doing a visibility audit. So that's the first part. The second part is Reach, which is really defining your, everybody does the whole ideal client exercise, but we are digging a little bit deeper into who you're for and who you're not for, because who you're not for is also equally important as who you're for.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
last part of it is tell, which is telling your story. So this is being able to resource stories that live inside you. We have so many stories, right? So to find those stories and then be able to incorporate those in your messaging as
Mhm.
content creators. So those are sort of the three parts of the framework. And ultimately, it's really about exploring your identity and getting visible through that identity in the world.
And we will post links to how to connect with Alpana, how to find more about the program, and how our listeners can find you
Sure.
online.
Yeah, so my website is alpanaaras.com. So there are two A's attached to each other, alpanaaras.com. And on social media, also, I am Alpana Aras. On Instagram, I'm alpana.aras. And LinkedIn, I'm also Alpana Aras. So any of the platforms, I'm pretty much my name.
Well, now I want to take us to the rapid fire questions part, if you are ready.
Yes, let's go.
A morning ritual or practice that you do that you would like to share with us.
Okay, this might come as a crazy answer, but right now, I do not have a
That's great.
consistent
Yeah.
morning ritual. So I used to do this thing called miracle mornings, and then I just kind of
Oh,
fell
yeah,
out of
yeah.
it. But there are
Uh-huh.
like a few things I do differently. One is stepping out in the morning light to get the sun's rays on me, which is
Love that.
essentially to regulate the circadian rhythm. I
Yep.
take some walks sometimes, just neighborhood walks.
Hmm.
Coffee is pretty much a consistent, although now I have given up caffeine. So
We have something in
I'm
common. We have something in common. That's my coffee cup here. Even though it's not morning anymore.
doing decaf now, though. So this is like my health, ties into my health goals. Health success is laying off the caffeine and getting on decaf. And then one fun thing I like to do is Wordle, which is like this New York Times puzzle, which I do with
Oh,
some
yeah, yeah. Okay.
friends. So that's something I do off and on all the time.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. A place in the world that shaped you.
I have to go with Bombay, my homeland.
Yes. Yes. Your
Bombay is this
roots.
crazy, chaotic place where
Uh-huh.
I grew up, and every time I go back, it feels like home.
Mhm.
It's tied to my identity. It feels like a place where I belong, where I hear languages, so many different languages that I grew up with, and people, food, everything. And
Mhm.
it it has even translated into so much of the work that I do now, my East West identity. So I bring
Yeah.
that in too. So I'd go with Bombay.
Love that. Love that. One word that describes the woman you are becoming.
Okay, I think I'm going to go with architect now.
Like that. I
And
love that.
the reason is all this time I have helped women get visible. But now I feel like I'm building a structure that women can step into with the Art of You program. And that feels like a bit of a shift. I'm architecting something that's unique and different.
I like that analogy. That's nice. Music, movement, stillness, or combination of those.
It depends on the day and time. I think I'd go mostly with music. Sometimes it's harder for me to sit still, but I should sit still. But I think music is what I'd go with.
And my final question is one non negotiable for aligned success.
For me, it is integrity. That is
Mm.
really important. Just, connecting with people who have integrity, who are true to themselves and true to others. That's something that is really important for me.
Thank you for playing.
These are fun questions.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for playing. I'm glad you enjoyed them. Well, as we are concluding our wonderful conversation with you, Alpana, and I want to thank you for taking the time this Friday to speak and share and speak about your wonderful program. And just my final question is there one maybe truth, one reminder pattern that you want to share with women in the world that are listening to us that you want women to receive from this conversation?
Yeah, it goes back to the editing of self. I love that quote. I think it's Oscar Wilde, which says, "Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. You
Yeah,
are unique. Don't
yeah.
hide parts of yourself. Don't edit yourself. Show up as you are."
Thank you, Alpana. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a
Yeah.
wonderful weekend.
You too. Bye.